What's up, Nintendo gamers? This is NintendoGuy 1981. Welcome back to Let's Predict Nintendo's next mobile app. For parts 4, 5, and 6, I'm just going to talk to you guys about some storage stuff and the controls. So first part is going to be how much storage it will take up, and there's a typo. So, how much storage does the average app take up? Well, on both Android and iOS, it's about 512 megs, which is about half a gig. And that's common to see 512 megs of RAM in a device. Of course, not a computer. I mean, my computer has 12 gigs of RAM, which is far more than 512 megs. I think that's what my phone and my iPod have. So I have two devices with 512 megabytes of RAM. And there are devices with more gigs of RAM, which is better, I know, but that's just my iPod and my phone are what I have, and I can upgrade the RAM, but I'm not sure if I want to. I mean, I think I'm good with 512 megs. So, the average app usually takes up about 512 megs of storage. I have seen less, I have seen more. Nintendo, if you can try and keep your next app less than 512 megs like you did with Miitomo, that'd be great. But, just saying, that's how much the average app takes up. Now, now for the RAM it needs. I'm a little sick. I'm going to talk to you guys about that in the next vlog. If it's a game, of course it needs a lot of RAM. I would say about 512 megs to 1 gig of RAM for a Zelda game, because Zelda games are just super long. And games like that, they'll take up a lot of RAM, and you need a lot of RAM to open. Like, if you had 256 megs, I'm not sure a device with that much RAM could handle a Zelda game, because a Zelda game's huge, and you need a lot of RAM to support a huge game. Like Minecraft, for example. It lags my lock screen. If you want, I can show you guys later. But, I'm just saying, Minecraft lags my lock screen because of how much RAM it takes up. Maybe a little less for 2D Mario side-scroller. 512 megs, maybe less. Not too less, of course. Oh, excuse me, but, you know, it depends. If it's a social media app, of course, it won't take up as much RAM, and it should take up about 256 megs. Now, I know some apps take a lot less, but, you know, if Nintendo makes it huge for a social media app, then it could take up 256 megs, but make it as small as possible, but big as possible, if you know what I mean. So now, the part you guys have been waiting for, controls for games. For a 2D Mario side-scroller, both now, since it's a small screen, not on a tablet, of course, but, you know, it's just super long for, I mean, there's buttons probably everywhere, and, you know, it'd just be kind of confusing. But for a 2D Mario side-scroller, I would just do a faded D-pad, not too faded, an R button for run, J button for jump, a PU button for pick up, of course, not PU. D is for duck, fire flowers to use power up, and the pause symbol I represented by 2 lowercase l's is to pause game, and so on. Now the faded D-pad, of course, would be to move from the world map and, you know, just around the level. Because if you can't move, then what's the point? And also, what's a Mario game that you can't jump? I have never heard of one. Now for a Zelda game, faded control stick. Zelda games are usually 3D. I mean, I haven't seen too many 2D Zelda games aside from Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link, which is nearly 30 years old. So, I mean, for a Zelda game, I would make it 3D, but like I said in the previous slide, a couple previous slides ago, make it as small as possible, but as big as possible. Meaning, make the game not take up too much memory, but as long as possible. Not too long, of course. But, of course, use a faded control stick for 3D controls, for better 3D controls. Maybe to simple it down a little bit. Maybe an inventory button. Just a general inventory. And that could be the pause screen also, where you save and stuff. And go back to the title screen and quit the game. Of course, there should be a use item button when you have an item selected, a sword button, a shield button for protection, and so on. And the sword's your main weapon. Now, I don't think there's really a jump button for Zelda games, but, you know, that's just it. Channels of the day for each part are CeeTEAM Cekuta, Megan Plays, and Code Relevant, so congrats. See you guys later for the top 5 out of